Okay, thank you, Rabbi Julie, and Boker Tov to everyone. Just want to start with, first of all, did everybody have a chance to wish Marvin Fish a happy birthday? Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. It was just this weekend, right? Beautiful. Okay. Many celebrations. May you always have good health and many things to celebrate, Marvin. So we're happy to all join together in sending you our best wishes. I don't think anybody else here had a birthday over the weekend, right? Okay. So this is our last session together, but I certainly know that it won't be the last of our as a community studying together and getting more familiar with what will become our new Siddur Lev Shalem. I really hope that everybody will continue on their own even to further explore and get comfortable and familiar and enjoy using this Siddur. So the very first thing I want to do, because we are studying and it's a good thing to get into the habit of doing, is for us to say the bracha together for studying Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. So even if it's not from the any words that we are studying that are connected to God are words of Torah. So we should be in the habit of doing that. So last time we spent a lot of time on the Friday night service, looking how the Siddur really gives us so many insights and other ways to look at and to think about particularly the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat. So we're going to jump a little bit now to the morning, and I have lots and lots of marks in my pages, as you can see. Thank goodness for Post-it notes. I don't know what we ever did before those little Post-it notes. But I certainly have enjoyed going through and using them and finding things that I would like to share with you. So we're going to, let's see, I'm going to try to screen share. If you have the Siddur in front of you, you are certainly welcome to look at that as opposed to looking at the screen, because it really is I think easier to just see it in front of you in the book, but if not, no worries, because we're going to find it on our screen share. Okay, so now where did screen share just go? Sorry, the sun is particularly bright but very beautiful today. I'm not complaining, but it's making it a little bit hard for me to actually see in this room. Okay, so now we're going to go here, Shabbat morning, and we're going to close that up a little. No, what did I just do? Here we go. Close that up, move it around. No, I just did something. Okay. And now we can move this box over here. There we go. All righty. So you'll have to tell me if this is entirely too small. You're not going to be able to read everything. I'll have to move it around. But this is for Shabbat morning, the way the Rabbinical Assembly did it when they were providing the PDFs to share with people, is they really just did it in sections. So this is 125 pages, but it's just for Shabbat morning, including Rosh Chodesh Musaf and Hallel. So here is the table of contents. And we start with, okay. So morning blessings, Birchot HaShachar. So what is not included in this little intro that the Rabbinical Assembly sent. Let me actually see if that's true or not. Oh, here it is. Okay, so there is a few pages here on an introduction to prayer. And we're not going to take the time to read this now, but I strongly encourage you, when you are flipping through the Siddur, or even at a time when you're not actually going to be praying, but just using the Siddur to as a resource to look at it, or to sort of get in the mood for prayer, to read some of these introductions, because they really do a nice job of addressing the circumstance, the topic at hand, and hopefully will inspire you to get into, get your head into a good place for tefillah. So first we have Birchot HaShachar, Modeh or Moda Ani. And this is not something that's really different than anything that was in the Siddur Sim Shalom. But again, I want to draw your attention, let me make this a little bigger, to the left side of the page, where you're going to find these sort of little, sometimes it's just a little poem, or just a saying, an expression, short words of other more contemporary scholars, rabbis, poets, and it's really meant to, again, enhance or give us a new perspective on something that we say every day. Let's keep in mind that our tefillot are fixed. We are not in the habit anymore, although that was something that was done, hundreds of years ago, where the people who either were leading the tefillot or paitanim, special liturgical poets, would be more spontaneous with their prayer, add words to say. And also people were probably more comfortable with just extending what was, let's say, on the page to their own personal prayer. So here are things that are included that can really help us give a new perspective. If we're saying Modeh or Modeh Ani every morning, and we want a different way to think about it, or something to just make it a little bit deeper, we have on this left side of the page some of these beautiful writings that we can refer to help us. So here is from Yehuda Halevi, My Soul. On the day that I searched for God, for I could not see the divine, I turned to my heart and my mind and found your throne within, a witness to you in me. Now, to me, again, this is just as short as Modeh or Moda Ani, but very personal, and really just right from the start of your morning prayer, to connect you to God, and to find that connection within yourself of the divine. So I just thought that was beautiful. And again, you can say it along with Modeh or Moda Ani, you can say it instead of. It's just a very beautiful little passage. And I'll remind you that at the end of the Siddur, there's a whole section again, it's not going to be on this PDF, but when you have the Siddur in your hand, there's a whole section of the historical figures, people that are quoted or seen throughout the Siddur. For example, I'm turning to the page that has Yehuda Halevi, page 460, and just very brief little things, but just so that you know a little bit more about who's reading, who has written something. Yehuda Halevi's years were 1075 to 1141, one of the greatest Spanish poets and philosophers. His Kuzari influenced both the subsequent philosophic and mystical thinking. So again, it's always nice to just, if you have a moment to flip back and just see, you find something you like, or you find a poet that you like, and you can learn more about that person. So that's an added special aspect of this Siddur that I haven't seen in other Siddurim. Okay, so here's that introduction that we talked about. And then we are at Matovu. And again, I'll point out to you that this whole section here is transliterated because very oftentimes we would sing Matovu together. So any prayer that it's common or likely for a congregation to sing together doesn't mean you have to do all of them, but they are all transliterated so that to make it more accessible for people to sing along. Okay. Then we go to putting on the talit. And here again, I want to point out it's very common to have meditations that, because again, putting on the talit, very personal but important and a mitzvah, commandment for our prayer to wrap ourselves in the tzitzit, and to take time in that moment when you're doing that to really connect with the mitzvah and what is about to happen because you are fulfilling this mitzvah, that then you can begin your prayer. So here is a beautiful meditation that I really connect to, and there's actually even what happened here, a beautiful melody that was composed for it, but it's called, wait, let me just get it here. Teach Me, God, to Bless and to Pray. And this is by the poet Leah Goldberg. Lamdeni Elohai, Barech v'hipalel al sod ale kamel. I'll read it now in English, in case you can't see it. Wait a minute, scroll a little. Teach me, God, to bless and to pray for the secret within the enfolded leaf, the glow of a ripening fruit, and this freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to celebrate, to fail. Teach my lips how to bless and sing praises as your time is renewed with the arrival of morning and evening, that my day to day be not like my yesterdays, that my day not simply be habit. So even if you do nothing else and you say this, I think it's just a very powerful, it's a poem, but very powerful words and a very powerful prayer. We're asking God to not make today like yesterday, even if yesterday was good. Today is a chance for a new day and more good, hopefully. So I just love that idea that we're often all in our habits, and oftentimes they help us get to where we need to be and get through a day, but to also find new ways to make each day special. So that is a very beautiful passage right there. I'm going to just stop share for a moment, just that I can see everybody again and find out how we're doing. Anybody ever familiar with that poem or see it by Leah Goldberg? The Teach Me, God, to Pray? It's very beautiful. Okay, so if you didn't know it.
Open the Lev Shalem.
Not till you open. Okay, but now you've known it, you've seen it. So again, I encourage you all to go find that and really look at it again and think about it in your own way and what it means to you. It's a very powerful and beautiful poem. Okay, so, yes.
Does that poem happen to be set to music? Many of her poems are.
Yes. So that one, there's a setting. I just have to remember now who composed it. Teach me, oh God, a blessing, a prayer about the mysteries of the universe. And then it goes on in English. And then Lamdeni Elohai. Have you heard, is that familiar to you at all? Okay, I'm going to find that one and send it because hearing the music is really beautiful. I'm going to find a recording.
Do you happen to know who composed it?
I'm blanking right now, but I said I'm going to find you the whole thing, and I promise I will send that. I'll send it to everybody because you'll enjoy hearing it. It's a very, very beautiful melody. Okay, so now we go back to our screen share. Okay, and now we are at Birchot HaShachar. So something very interesting here. And again, as I told you this, the previous two sessions that we did, I'm also learning a tremendous amount, reading through this, the commentary and the explanations. I haven't actually really ever thought about, in the first bracha of Birchot HaShachar, we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasechvi v'na lahavchin ben yom u'ben laila. Well, if you look in our Siddur Sim Shalom, and you look at that bracha, it will be translated. Just a moment, turning to that page. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, enabling us to distinguish day from night. Well, that is the intent, I believe, of this bracha. That's the first thing we say, that now we can distinguish the daytime from the nighttime. And when you really look at it, that's not exactly what the translation says. I went over to the Art Scroll and looked at that translation, and it says, "Blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe, who gave the heart understanding to distinguish between day and night." So I thought, that's interesting, because I know the word for heart is lev, and I don't see that at all in this first bracha. But then when we look at the explanation, first of all, the translation and the explanation in the Siddur Lev Shalem, what it says about that first bracha, first of all, the interesting that I think I pointed this out last time, that the Baruch atah Adonai is actually not translated. Anytime you have the bracha in this Siddur, they're not going to translate Baruch atah Adonai. They keep it in the transliteration of the Hebrew words. And then it's also interesting, the translation of the rest of the fixed part of the brachot, of the bracha. Our God, Eloheinu, melech haolam, is translated as sovereign of time and space, and then goes on to whatever the bracha is going to say. So in this case, who enables the bird to distinguish day from night. So this is something, again, that maybe most of you are learning today, or if you knew it already, great. But the explanation is here. Let me scroll up a little bit. Again, don't know if you can see this. Go back. Nope, I scrolled too much. Sorry, my computer is sensitive. Here it is. Who enables the bird to distinguish, and the commentary is here. I'm going to read it from the Siddur. We are a part of the natural world, responding to the morning sunlight, as does all of nature. The first blessing attributes understanding to the animal realm and points to humans taking instruction from them. The language is taken from the book of Job, where God responds to Job out of the whirlwind, saying, quote, "Who placed wisdom in the most hidden places? Who gave understanding to the bird? Who is wise enough to describe the heavens?" The word used for bird in that passage from Job is sechvi, and the Babylonian Talmud identifies it as a rooster, and that's from the Talmud Rosh Hashanah 26a. So again, rooster, I've always known to be a different word, tarnagol, but I really hadn't thought much about that word sechvi. Now I know more where it comes from. And I also know a little bit more about the intent. But going back to the Siddur, the Art Scroll Siddur, I was curious to see why they translated it as heart. I read that to you before, who gave the heart understanding to distinguish between day and night. And what Art Scroll says is the word sechvi means rooster, but it could also mean heart. In the context of this blessing, both meanings are implied. The rooster crows, but man's heart reacts and understands how to deal with this new day. So I just thought that that was interesting to have all of that in the Siddur, and a different way again to think about the way we start our morning brachot. So let's go back to stop share. Any comments on that? Were people familiar with that little, right? It's kind of neat. So I just like, I feel like there's so many little gems, you know. You ever see like, there's like, you know, oftentimes in like nice expensive jewelry, you have this like beautiful big gem, but then there are these other little like, you know, that just kind of, these little, I don't know, like pave diamonds, right? Is that what they're called? These just like little specks, and they're just as beautiful, but in their own way, to add to the beauty of the whole, right? So I feel like throughout the Siddur, there are just these little gems that really, and all you have to do is read one of them, and it just kind of changes your whole connection or intent for that particular, whether it's bracha or blessing or prayer. Okay, so now we're going to continue a little bit more. And let's see, the next page I want to take you to is the, let's go to the Psalms for the day. Okay, so I'm going to go back to screen share. If I can find it, what happened to screen share? There we go. Screen share. So now in the Siddur Sim Shalom, there were definitely the Psalms for the day. Let's keep going here. But Siddur Lev Shalem does it interestingly. I've got to just scroll a few more pages. Sorry, we're not going to get to look at every single page. Okay, so here is the section with the Shir Shel Yom, and what Siddur Sim Shalom had done was given us the traditional psalm that's associated with Shabbat, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if you go into our Siddur, our weekday morning Siddur, you will see the psalm and you'll see the same psalm. What Siddur Lev Shalem has done here, of course, is the psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92, and that doesn't change. But they put the traditional psalms of the weekday days in the back of the Siddur. So they're still there if that's what you prefer, if that's what you want. But they've given us something new here, which I think is also very special. So as I said, Psalm for Shabbat is the Psalm for Shabbat. And just the commentary is, since the late Middle Ages, it has been customary to recite a special psalm for each day of the week, a custom based on the Mishnah's report that these psalms were recited in the temple by the Levi'im. Tractate Sofrim, a minor tractate of the Talmud, records that on the festivals, other psalms appropriate to these occasions were recited. Accordingly, we, meaning Lev Shalem, include here the traditional psalm for Shabbat and the new moon for Rosh Chodesh, as well as a psalm for each of the festivals. So that is new, and I think that's exciting, something else that we can look forward to doing. So there's the psalm for Shabbat. There's also Psalm 27 is put here rather than later on in the service, but Psalm 27 is the psalm that we say during the month of Elul through Hoshana Rabbah. Okay, and let me also see. So in this particular, oh yes, it's here. So this psalm we often recite silently, or sometimes we read in English, but there's a beautiful melody within Psalm 27, Achat Sha'alti. And over here you see it in bold, that's what they do. And on the left side of the page, it's in transliteration in red. So that's the only part of this psalm that's transliterated. because many congregations will sing the beautiful melody. Achat sha'alti meit Adonai ota avakesh shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai lachazot benoam Adonai ulevaker beichalo לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בהיכלו. So it's very convenient to have the transliteration for a section right there that the congregation might want to sing together. And by the way, there are other also beautiful melodies for Achat Sha'alti. That's just the one that I happen to have chosen. There's also the upbeat one, Achat Sha'alti meit Adonai Otavakesh, and that repeats, and then shifty, 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 woo, shifty bevet Adonai, etc. So probably the first one more appropriate to when you're actually reciting Psalm 27. So then we keep going, and the Psalm for Rosh Chodesh. Yes.
Yeah, just to remind everyone and you that the CBI band has actually backed you up on that first melody that you sang some years ago when we did a Salichot program at CBI.
Yes, that the band, absolutely. The band played that one, and we'll hopefully get back to doing that again. So, and hopefully everybody will learn the melody, and then everybody will certainly be able to sing it because the words will be right there transliterated if anybody needs that. So here is, this is the, people actually are probably familiar with this psalm from our Psukei de Zimra, but this is what the minor tractate in the Mishnah tells us was the psalm that was associated with Pesach, Psalm 136, the Hodu Ladonai Ki Tov Ki Le'olam Chasto. Then we keep going. There's a psalm for Shavuot, Psalm 119. And what's interesting about this one is that this is a much longer psalm. So you have to just notice here where it says in the parentheses, selected verses. This is not the entire psalm. But what I do love about what was done here with the selected verses, everybody take a look at the first letter of each line. And what do you notice? What do you notice?
It's an acrostic.
Thank you for unmuting and saying that. Yes. Okay. So they have made an alphabetical acrostic out of this with each of the letters of the verses that were chosen. And, you know, I just think that that was a brilliant tool to use for this. So again, you know, a nice gift of Lev Shalem and of the editors of the Siddur. Psalm 67 is what was used for Sukkot. And again, if you read this commentary and you read the English verses, the commentary says that this psalm centers on three themes that are associated with Sukkot. Sukkot being a harvest festival, and a festival that celebrates the fruits of the harvest, and also celebrating the pilgrimage and a time of joy. So all of those themes are going to be found in this psalm. But again, if you were just reading the psalm on your own without this, you know, seeing that commentary, you may have picked it up on your own, but maybe not. So the commentary is there to, again, help and just make it more meaningful and deeper, go on a deeper level. Here's a psalm for Shmini Atzeret that is included, Psalm 65. And here is, now we're back to Psalm 30. This is what would have been sort of after, if you can picture in our Siddur that we use now, the Siddur Sim Shalom, this would have, Psalm 30 would have come after the weekday Psalms, and then this is what we would continue with this. So just continuing the service. Okay, so, and that of course is followed by the Mourner's Kaddish. Again, that's not something that's different. Now we come to Psukei de Zimra Baruch She'amar. So look at the Hebrew if you can, and even if you can't read all the words, or you could actually look at it on the transliteration side too. If you can see it, let's see if I can just center this a little bit more. There we go. So if you happen to have Siddur Sim Shalom nearby, you can open it and compare. But what do you see that is very different here than how it Baruch Shamar appears in our Siddur Sim Shalom? Anybody can unmute and answer. What's different about how Baruch, maybe I'll sing a little bit. Baruch Shamar v'Haolam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Oseh Bereshit.
I got it.
They add the Baruch Hu in.
Yes, okay.
There's a
So
response.
what I want you, exactly, what I want you to notice is, I hope you can see it on the screen, is that all of those additional Baruch Shemo that are added are not in the same, they're the same font, but they are in gray, like a lighter color rather than the dark black of the text of Baruch Shamar. So that right there should draw your attention that something is special or different. And then, so of course, right away drew my attention. Again, I had never seen this in any other Siddur. And I looked at the commentary. So let's see if I can just scroll to that so you can see it. And here it is here. Baruch Hu, blessed be the one. The last line of the introductory call and response reads Baruch Shemo, blessed be the divine name. Taken together, the first two words of response and the last two of the series form the phrase Baruch Hu uVaruch Shemo. So when we start, like if you see that, we have to scroll back here. So that would be here. Baruch Hu was what we said at the beginning, and then Baruch Shemo. So that this Baruch Shemo would have been the last part of this first paragraph that we would say. But when they write it here like this, you get you can see the continuity of the phrase. So let me just see where it says about adding the.
And interestingly, they don't translate it. Really, they just say Baruch Hu and Baruch Shemo.
Right, but that is true. But I had said to you earlier that the Siddur doesn't translate Baruch Atah Adonai.
Right.
But when Baruch is not part of a bracha, then they do translate. So here you see in the translation
be the one.
of Baruch Shamar, blessed, they do translate Baruch as blessed is the one. So, and of course, all in the very gender neutral language, you won't see any of blessed is he or anything like that. So blessed is the one. Okay. So I'm just trying to find okay, well, in any case, I'm trying to find where the source for adding Baruch Hu to each line, and it's not jumping out at me at this.
If you scroll down in the commentary on the right side of the page, I think that.
Okay.
See down there, if you can scroll down a little bit. Yeah, in there.
Okay.
Where it says Baruch Hu, blessed be the one.
Oh, right, that's what I just read. Okay. So it's just interesting to see that that this version now is what is here. But again, because it's in the gray, it's the suggestion, like, it's not that you, everybody will do it, but it's there if you want it. So I just thought that was something different and kind of cool to look at. So now I want to jump ahead a little bit. We're going to have all of our same passages with lots of commentary and readings on the left side of the page. Birchot HaShachar, of Psukei de Zimra, rather, sorry. And again, you'll see that they give you Hebrew letters so that it's sort of an indication that it's a kind of expected that it won't be necessarily a full Psukei de Zimra, that, on this Shabbat morning we'll do Bet and Gimel, on this Shabbat morning we'll do Aleph and Dal, whatever it is that pick and choose, and they're each sort of marked or numbered with a Hebrew letter to make it easier, rather than only just saying we'll go to page 131 or whatever it is. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll a little bit more. Okay, here we go. 35. So this is a passage that is a part of Birchot HaShachar, not necessarily, it's not one psalm. So I think that that was something that struck me as interesting for the left side of the page, but I'm going to just show you this side first. So this is Yehi Chvod Adonai Le'olam. The earliest poetic additions to the liturgy were collections of biblical verses, and this is, I'm reading the commentary here, such as this prayer. It is recited daily, and it is included in all rites. Now that's like, remember that one of the things that Lev Shalem is going to try to do is to bring up rite, meaning from different customs and traditions of different geographic areas. So, for example, sometimes the Siddur will bring us from the Sephardic rite, from the Italian rite, just different places, different parts of Germany. And the Siddur will always show us, what Lev Shalem, when they're bringing something that hasn't necessarily been traditionally part of the Siddurim that conservative Jews in America have been using, but they really tried to make this a much broader, wider scope. So in this psalm, in this collection of psalms rather, a seemingly natural poetic flow from one verse to the next is created by the presence of similar words in consecutive verses. Now again, if you're just reading the Hebrew, would you necessarily think about that? So this might encourage you to go back and look at the Hebrew and see how the verses connect to one another through the flow by looking at the Hebrew words that connect. And then they give you the whole list of all of the different passages where this collection of verses comes from. Now we go to the left side of the page. And of course, all with the theme of God's sovereignty. Let me scroll up a little bit. So where it says here, the people Israel, you can't see the bottom of it, but this is a passage by Abraham Joshua Heschel. And I just love the fact that there are writings from Abraham Joshua Heschel found right there in our Siddur. Is this too small? Can someone see it to read it? Maybe if I try to make it a little bigger, otherwise I can read it. Can anybody see that to read it, or is it too small for you? Anybody want to read the people Israel?
Yeah, if you'd like, I'll read that.
Is it big enough?
Yeah. The people Israel. Life appears dismal if not mirrored in what is more than life. Nothing can be regarded as valuable unless assessed in relation to something higher in value. Humanity's survival depends on the conviction that there is something that is worth the price of life. It depends upon a sense of the supremacy of what is lasting. That sense of conviction may be asleep, but it awakens when challenged. In some people, it lives as a sporadic wish. In others, it is a permanent concern. What we have learned from Jewish history is that if a person is not more than human, then he or she is less than human. Judaism is an attempt to prove that in order to be a human being, you have to be more than a single human, that in order to be a people, we have to be more than a people. Israel was made to be a holy people. This is the essence of its dignity and the essence of its merit.
So I don't know about you, but I could spend the whole 2.5 hours to 3 hours or whatever, however long we are in the service on Shabbat morning, just going over and trying to absorb everything that's in that passage. I just love the fact that we are challenged intellectually also through the Siddur, through this Siddur Lev Shalem, that we are asked to really dig and to think about what we're doing, like just everything possible to try to not make our tefillah rote, without a kavanah. And I think this particular passage addresses so much of that in so many different ways. And again, I encourage you to go back, like, if you had a Post-it note and you like this one, put your Post-it note on your Siddur, on your copy, or on this page, or even if you get the PDF of it, you can find ways to go back to these different passages and read them and reflect. And I just think they're fascinating. So now let me just make this smaller again. Okay, so again, I can't possibly show you everything in this time we have, and I see that the time is moving along very quickly. So we're going to just jump ahead a little bit, and let's go to the section of taking the Torah from the Ark. Okay, if anybody has any comments or questions or anything to add while I'm scrolling, go ahead and unmute. Oh, did I show you? I can't remember if I showed you this already in one of our earlier sessions. This is Shirat Hayam, which again is in nothing that like it's in our Siddur, it's in Sim Shalom, it's in every Siddur for daily services. But what Lev Shalem does, this is of course the Song of the Sea, is at the end of the Song of the Sea, you see where it says here, some congregations add this passage, include this passage, which is of course the lines that follow Song of the Sea, with Miriam, the prophet, taking the timbrel and dancing. So I love the fact that this is here. Again, we don't have to do it, and they give you the instruction that some congregations include this, but we'll see. Maybe CBI will be among the some. So let's keep going. Again, there are going to be opportunities for us to explore and experiment, and together with Rabbi Eisenberg and our Religious Affairs Committee, and on all of you, people who are interested, we can see how this will possibly shape our future davening. Okay, so now we go to, I'm just scrolling ahead here to get to the Torah service. Torah service. Okay, got a bit more scrolling to do. So a lot of pages. Okay. Almost there. One thing you will notice also in this Siddur, so here's the end of the Shacharit Amidah, and in Siddur Sim Shalom, what follows the Shacharit Amidah is Hallel, but here we go right to Kaddish Shalem, and Hallel is found a little bit later in the Siddur. In later pages. So it's not right in this section. If it's a time when it's Shabbat and we also need to say, or festival, and we need to say Hallel, we go to a different place in the Siddur. Okay, so here is Hotzat Torah, taking out the Torah. And again, it's pretty standard, but there's beautiful commentary, explanation. But here's what I love that's different in Lev Shalem. There are many passages here that are intended to be personal reflections. It says, before we open the ark or as we're opening the ark. sometimes I think I don't know about you, but I'll just speak for myself that I a little bit tend to take it for granted, that, okay, we're opening our beautiful art curtain, and then we're seeing all the beautiful new Torah covers that we have, but already, starting to take them for granted. We haven't had them for that long, but it's like, okay, they're beautiful, but I don't find myself always like paying attention to that, if you know what I mean. So I think that, what the Siddur is trying to encourage us to do, and what I hope that the Siddur will help me to do personally, is to just pay attention to more of the things that we do and say. And a way to do this is through these different passages of personal prayer. Again, everyone is welcome to say their own personal prayer, but sometimes the words don't come, or we're not sure what to say. So there are several different options here, and not expected to read all of them. You pick one. Here's this one, a prayer of gratitude. I thank you, Adonai, for knowing me, for granting me a measure of fullness, a fulfillment of small hopes and many yearnings. Thank you for the gift of this day. May the gratitude in my heart and the sense of fullness that I feel now continue to sustain me, taking root in my soul, even as I continue to dream and pray. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and to sing to your name, transcendent God. That's a quote from Psalms. Give me strength to see the gift in each new day you grant. So that the taking out the Torah, opening the ark, could be a time of more, an opportunity for more personal prayer, and the Siddur certainly encourages that. Okay. Then I think I showed you this last time. Whenever there's a time when it's traditional to bow, there's this little symbol to show you with the instructions. And the instructions are also in red so that they stand out a little bit and we can see them. So any questions about anything there? Okay, then also very beautiful. We have, and most Siddurim have a page or two within the Torah service of Mishaberach prayers, as they should. And there's always a Mishaberach for healing. But what Lev Shalem finally brings us are the words to Debbie Friedman and Drora. Let's see, I didn't even know this name. I can't read it. Setel, Drora Setel, of the Mishaberach that we sing now almost every Shabbat. Mishaberach Avotenu. So the words are right here. And I will tell you that there was talk for some time. We had some congregants who were going to volunteer to print out the words for the Debbie Friedman's Mishaberach and paste them into the back of our Siddurim. So that would have been, it was a lovely thought and a lovely gesture, but now we won't need it because it's right there in the Siddur so that people can follow along and sing along. And another thing that I want to point out, we have Birkat HaGomel. Every Siddur is going to have that as well. But here is also another bracha that's added, Hakarat HaTov, and everybody I think is familiar with that phrase now because we use it more frequently when we're saying that we want to express our thanks or gratitude. We do it for those who have helped through the pandemic, essential workers, medical professionals, etc. And we also share good news often at our service on Friday evening, and we call that Hakarat HaTov. But here is an actual bracha with a congregational response, and I love that that's in here too, that we should be in the habit not only of thanking God, of course, of thanking God when we're in need of something or have recovered from an illness or something that's been bad, tragic in somebody's life, but also to celebrate and point out and make sure that we acknowledge the good things and the happy things. So I think that's beautiful there, that's included. And again, I hope we will continue to keep doing more of that. And then you'll see also several other, well, there's the Chatzi Kaddish, and there are also other prayers included here. So we do have a prayer for the congregation that's in the Siddur Lev Shalem, but I think this is a more readable, the translation, the Yikum Parkam. We don't really say it in Aramaic anymore. A prayer for those who serve the community. Here's a new one, a different one, a prayer for the renewal of creation. So that's, and again, sometimes we could switch it up and not always say the same ones, but maybe add one new one each time or a different one. Prayer for our country, of course, and prayer for the state of Israel, and the prayer for peace. What I will point out in the prayer for the state of Israel is a word here that does not exist in Siddur Lev Shalem. You're all familiar with Avinu Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'alo, Barechet Medinat Yisrael. And then without this word, it goes right to Reshit Tzmichat Ge'ulateinu. So what is this word? Shetehei. And of course, they're not going to just put something and add something there without explaining it. So that is over here. And let me get to this, I can read it here. This Hebrew word was added by the chief rabbi of England, Emanuel Jacobowitz, turning the phrase, quote, the beginning of the redemption, end quote, into an expression of hope rather than a statement of fact. Now, we can have a whole nother session on what that exactly means, but just so that you should know there are different approaches, attitudes to this text of the prayer for the state of Israel, just described here, that whether this is actually the beginning of the redemption or just a hope that that there will be redemption related to the state of Israel. So most interesting, a little political also, but again, you don't have to say it, it's in brackets, and it's just a suggestion, although that one is not in gray. They didn't, remember I told you from the font, like, or the coloring, they didn't change it. Okay, so here's the prayer for peace. And then, next in the service, if there's a month that we're going to say the blessing of the new month, I love this also, that they added the Hebrew months with some, interesting information about each of the Hebrew months. And then there would be the blessing of the announcement of the new month. Questions or comments?
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed on Shabbat morning that the Sim Shalom for the blessing for the new month says Et HaChodesh Hazeh. And in this one it says HaChodesh Haba, yet in the Sim Shalom it translates as in the coming month. So
yes. So again, you're going to see some of these like subtle differences, and sometimes they will put like a choice, either or. But let's see if they even give a comment on this. I don't think they comment on this one, but that is, another interesting place where you find it is in the Kol Nidre prayer. I'm thinking aside like Yom Kippurim Hazeh or Yom Kippurim Haba, and different Machzorim say it differently. I think the intent is the same, but it's really just a question of what your tradition or custom is. But yes, that is definitely another difference there. Okay, so there's so much more to look at and to explore in the Siddur. As I don't have to show you, but like you'll see when you look at Musaf, and we have this too in Siddur Lev Shalem, but I think it's a little bit more pronounced here in Lev Shalem. There is an alternate passage to replace the Tikanta Shabbat if you don't want to pray in Musaf about the Shabbat and the sacrifices, the temple sacrifices. And by the way, our text of Tikanta Shabbat is already much altered from the traditional text that you would find, let's say, in the Art Scroll. But then they give you on a different page rather than below the line an alternate to say, which is different, completely different actually. Some other differences that you might notice. Let's see. Again, adding the Imotenu in certain places. Oh, and there's no A and B page. I think I mentioned this last time too, that in the Amidah, for the first paragraph, Baruch atah, they're side by side. So the one side says with the patriarchs and the other side says with the patriarchs and the matriarchs. So you have the choice, but it's not like A or B page. One more thing, I guess I have to show you this, but the Siddur really tries to, I think as I mentioned, bring back some traditions that might have been lost. For example, like adding Shir HaShirim on Shabbat, and as I showed you last time, that they added that at the beginning of the Siddur for Kabbalat Shabbat, bringing some different piyutim, which I showed you for different festivals, and also different geographical locations, bringing some poetry and some different piyutim and customs from other places. So for example, just as I'm not going to screen share to show you, but for example, for Ein Kelohenu, they include the Ladino version. It's on the left side in that column. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Kematenu, Ein Kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. And that's right there in Siddur Lev Shalem. Also, and that's also something that we have done in our congregation, but in the past, either we've done it without the words, all the words in front of us, or somebody would bring Len or somebody would bring a song sheet and make copies of that and have it available so people could read along. So now we don't need the song sheets, it's right there in our Siddur. Also in this Siddur, you'll find some special editions for Havdalah and a Sephardic version of both Tal and Geshem. Another thing to point out, we've been talking about this, that the Siddur really goes to a lot of effort to make things very gender neutral. And that's in the translations, but also gender equal. So in other words, when there is, like let's say the Eshet Chayil is in the section for what you would do at home for Shabbat, there's also something parallel for a male or for just a friend or a partner, being very gender equal. And as we noted, there's the different, the addition of Miriam's, the phrases that from after Shirat Hayam that mention Miriam. There are also different Mishaberachs for different family configurations. And I encourage everyone to look at those and appreciate them for, even if it's not something that you particularly need, but understanding that in all of our communities, families look different in so many different ways, and we need to be more inclusive and make sure that everyone feels welcome and accepted for what your own family configuration looks like. And the fact that it becomes part of the Siddur just, I think, is another step to show that this is something that we need to really think seriously about. Thank you for the thumbs up, Flo Helen. So again, so many different things that we can really find in the Siddur if we look, and use to help us and to help our community. And it's been really a lot of fun for me studying this together with you. I thank you all for being on this journey together. I thank our Religious Affairs Committee and the leadership for really being supportive and behind this new direction and this change of Siddur. And together we will make it our own.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie asked for one announcement to advertise tomorrow evening's program at 7 o'clock, the tour of India with Rachel
Musleach. She's wonderful. And Wendy, you want to say anything?
We traveled with her. God, it's about 5 or 6 years ago to India, and it was the most marvelous trip we have ever been on.
Wow.
Absolutely unreal.
Looking forward.
Thank you for reminding. Is the
Yes.
link there? Is the link on?
The link was in the Friday announcements.
Friday
Okay.
announcements, and probably be in the announcements today too.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Right, and also be sure to look for sisterhood. It's a busy week for what's
Yeah.
going on, but there are 2 spectacular programs this week, including there's Talmud study tonight, which you don't want to miss because that's always wonderful. But tomorrow night, this program with Rachel Musleach. But then Thursday evening is a sisterhood program that everyone is invited to, and that is Linda Silver's sister, Dr. Lauren Strauss. Anything, any topic that she talks about, she's brilliant.
Mhm.
Like, she is just brilliant. So her topic this time happens to be, she's a wonderful teacher. Her topic is early American Jewish women and their influence
On the entertainment industry, isn't
in
it?
the entertainment industry. Right, that's right. So I just think it's going to be fun. You can bet that she will be well prepared and just have so much information to share. And so I hope that everybody can rearrange if you have if you have a busy week, try to get things done before 7 p.m. This week, because you're going to be very busy, 7 p.m. every night. And then it's Rosh Chodesh, you'll be busy in the mornings too. So, it's just a lot going on.
Do we have the link for that?
For which one?
For the,
I think the
Thursday night,
sisterhood
wasn't
link
it?
is coming out in a day or two.
Mhm.
okay, I didn't know if it was in last Friday's. I still have last Friday's.
I think it was in last Friday's also.
It was?
For the sisterhood? Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was.
But you'll send it out, it's coming out again, Wendy?
Mhm.
Probably will, because usually they send it out like closer to the time or the date.
Because some people may not have saved Fridays, so.
It's usually saved in trash.
The Zoom link hasn't come out yet.
But try to find it, Wendy.
Just
All
type
right.
in CBI and it
Yeah.
usually comes up.
I'm
out of
always
trash.
looking through my trash.
Aw. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining. Have a wonderful day. I look forward
That
to
was
seeing
not.
you tomorrow night and Thursday night and at any minyanim that you can be at. So for more learning together. All right. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.
Yeah.
Cantor.
Cantor, do you have a minute if I call you? I have a
Yes.
couple quick questions. All
Yes.
right.
And
Okay.
also, did you see my text?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to. I will respond to that too.
Okie
Yes.
dokie.
Lorna,
Thanks.
it's been wonderful, and it's also so nice to see, in addition to all the wonderful things you have to add to our knowledge, to see your smile so early in the morning.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. It's a joy for me to prepare for these sessions and to study with you and to have everybody here. It would be really sad for me to teach to an empty screen. So I really appreciate seeing all of you in your special boxes here, and just feeling like we're still all together, even in our boxes. We are together. We study together. We're just joining and doing things together still. It's wonderful.
And you're
Agreed.
always- you're
All right.
always
Okay, I'll
great.
call you in a few.
Have a great day.
Ending for
Bye.
all. Enjoy the day.